Hi there, Outliers. Niiamah Shang here, and thank you so much for letting me be a part of your journey. I say that, but we know we're here for a great raucous time here. Outliers, it is good to be in space with you. Niiamah Shang here, and thank you so much for letting us be a part of your journey. We are here on the Outliers Edge Roundtable, where we have five incredible outliers who are all going to share how they see the world and how they've been able to incorporate who they are and how they approach the world into creating more income, impact, and integrity for themselves. Let's give you a chance to get to know each outlier and the game that they play. Latrice, I'd like to know about your business, and the game that you're up to.
Uh, my name is Latrice Fowler, and at my core, I am a writer. I am a self-published author of 4 books. Right now, I did a pivot, and I have built a virtual call center. So my main focus right now is recruiting agents to work from home. And yeah, but writing is still in the forefront, and I am working on several projects in the background. So that is who I am and what I do.
Thank you so much, Latrice. Glad that you're here. Why don't we go to Corinne?
Latrice, sign me up for the virtual call center. Sign me up, sister. I'm ready to go. I am Corine La Font. I'm based in the Caribbean, specifically Trinidad and Tobago. And my core is being a public relations and communication specialist and consultant. That's my business.
So much, Karen, and then Isaac.
Niiamah, thank you for the invitation to be here. Honored to be amongst these wonderful guests. My name is Isaac Mashman. I'm based out of Little Rock, Arkansas, and I run a consulting firm specializing in personal branding and individual reputation management, Mashman Consulting Group. And yeah, it's a really quick overview.
Thank you. Uh, Karen, let's go to you, and then we'll go to Shannon.
My name is Karen Bates. I'm the founder and CEO of Find Your Path Mission. It's a nonprofit we created to help at-risk youth in Mexico, give them a loving home and an education so that they can go and have a bright future.
Thank you. And Shannon?
My name is Shannon Safi. I'm from Pennsylvania. My business is a wellness business. It offers a mix of services from nutrition counseling, cooking classes, and personal training along with yoga. And we recently just took our services online as well. So we offer both in-person and online services.
Well, I'm thrilled to be in space with all of you here. I'm excited for the conversation that we have, and want to just keep building up on the lessons that you've learned over the years, as well as the way that you're looking at things going into the future. Why don't we get started here with a lesson that you've learned over the years? And so, one of the things that I notice about outliers is that we along our game, we continue to up level. We're not just about moving forward. We're about like playing bigger and bigger games and stepping into areas that continue to challenge us. I'd like to go to each of you on this one here, and I'm curious about a belief that you had at some point that like you found that you needed to up level if you wanted to continue growing yourself. So, what's the belief that you previously had that you found that like just yeah you need to bring up to the level that you're playing at right now? Right? Let's follow the same order in which we introduce ourselves so the outliers get a chance to like put a name and a voice together. So why don't we go with Latrice?
So the biggest thing that I've been struggling with pretty much for the last maybe 5 years was I would, pour all of this encouragement into other people, but I wasn't, uh, taking my own advice. So my whole stance now is to live every bit of the encouragement that I pour into others as my for my everyday. So that is my biggest belief in up level.
Can you give me an example of that, Latrice? Like I hear it overall, but I'm trying to like make. Can you make that real for us?
Right. So if I'm telling someone to follow their passions and uh, eliminate all of the negative self-doubt and the limitations that we put on ourselves, and they, implement that advice, I also need to internally do the same for myself because I battle with imposter syndrome and all of the limited beliefs that I put upon myself. So if I'm asking you to show up as a better version of yourself, I also need to show up as a better version of myself. So my decree and declare that I will live every bit of the encouragement I pour into others.
I love it there. I hear like you often teach what you most need to learn at that moment. So so what I hear from you is like a high level of awareness of like as much as I'm seeing it right here, it's likely also applied back to me. Thank you, Latrice, for
Yes,
playing that game with us.
you're welcome.
Awesome. Kareem, like how about you? What's a belief that you had to up level to step into the game that you play now?
Well, when you asked that question, one of the things that came to mind, I had two, but the first one is having a website. You know, when you're starting your business, everybody tells you must have a website, you must have a store where people can go to. And I've had it for probably about 12 years, paying hosting fees, trying to upgrade, change it around, look at what others were doing, probably trying to keep up. You're looking at the colors, the flow, everything about it. And then you realize, wait a minute, this is not converting. I'm not getting the attracting the type of people that I would want is not making sense. I'm just spending money. And then why really? Is it because something that I really should do? Is it resonating with me? Or was it because others out there, the external factors were saying this is what you had to do? And I needed to be true to myself. So I just stopped. I just cut everything and just stopped. I had a conversation recently where I said I don't have a website. They automatically felt I should have had a website, or they felt, yeah, or they assumed I should have a website. I said no, and they're like, what? And it went into a whole dialogue, and I explained to them I don't need one. I don't have one. I don't have one anymore. I used to. And it's not applicable for everyone. I'm on LinkedIn, and that's because I'm in the service industry and I'm about connecting and building relationships. LinkedIn works for me. So one of the advice I would give is to do the things that really resonates with you and don't be caught up listening to what everybody else is saying outside here and feel that you have to meet that as well. The next one is about content, which follows the same website because it's all part of the marketing. People are still drumming this thing into your head, and you feel pressured and overwhelmed and you can't keep up. Putting out content every day, 3 times a day. You need to be on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, this, that. And you're like, my God, when am I going to do the business? When do I have time for myself? So I just don't fit in. If I feel motivated, or I'm inspired at a moment to say something, I say it then. It could be at 3 o'clock in the morning when I'm up doing whatever. It could be midnight. It could be once a week. It could be once a month. I go according to my own rhythm and what works for me. And, it's not a matter of trying to capture, because people are overwhelmed. People are overwhelmed with all this information coming up there, and they don't know what to choose, where to go, what to read, how much to read. I don't want to be adding to that. And so I decided, no, no, no. If I feel inspired to say something, and believe it or not, when I do say something, the universe just seemed to work with it, that people just seem to, like, they needed that inspiration at that point in time when I said it, and so it gains traction.
I
So
love this element here of like Corinne, you just like owned. You're like, I just don't fit in. I'm like, welcome to the outlier world.
thank you so
I'm
much.
like, yeah, like I'm like, you just said it like it's like the password in. One of the things that really caught me as you were saying it was like, I'm like, I wonder how many conversations that you get to start, or how many conversations go in where people can become clients just because of the fact that you do. Like, I don't have a website. Like and to like and I yeah, that's playing through me, this thing that everyone else is thinking actually ends up being the conversation started in a lot of different ways. Thank you so much. Let's go to Isaac. I'm curious for you, what's a belief that you had to up level to show up and play the game that you play right now?
Yeah, I would have to say the poverty mindset, the idea that the existence that you were raised with is the existence that you have to live with as an adult, coming from that working class family, single parent household, my grandfather a carpenter. It was growing up, I might have been eating dirty rice and sloppy joes and such, and I love those things, but that doesn't mean as an adult and in the future with my kids, I want to necessarily feed them the same, or I want to do the same, or have to worry about the roof leaking. And that was a huge, huge shift when I first got started in business, associating with people that were making money, seeing that there was better cars to drive, better houses to live in, better things to do. And, money is ultimately a reflection of you, right? And so if you're naturally a bad person, you know, money's going to exacerbate that, compared to if you're a good person, money gives you more ability to do good with it. And getting involved with business and just setting, you know, higher, I suppose, standards, higher expectations for what I'm pursuing and what I'm building, because ultimately the more value you provide, the more revenue you make. So there's a direct correlation between doing things ethically, right? As you mentioned before we even started, you know, and having a background in the public relations space, I saw so many people doing the fake rented Rolls Royce, rented Lamborghini, buy my course kind of crap. And that was always just quick thinking and not having that long-term vision of, I can actually build something that could be a legacy business I pass down to my children. And that was a massive shift that as soon as I made it, everything started to click.
Thank you for that, Isaac. And I'm glad to hear this here. Karen, we'll come to you. Like, I want to get everyone on this one here to see what's a belief that you up leveled, and Shannon will come to you afterwards.
I think we started by visiting orphanages. We started visiting kids, and when we started to see the problems in the system and the things they had to deal with, there was always this kind of like, oh, someone should do something about this. And then you get to a point where like, oh, maybe I should do something about this, you know? And so there's this kind of point where you're like, oh, there's a problem I see, and maybe I can help fix it. And then now we're at the point where like, oh, we can't do this on our own. We need to start gathering other people to help us. And so it's again like living up like first it's me, and now I've got to go find other people that want to also contribute or want to be part of this cause in some way. And so I think those two is like finding out, like seeing a problem, wanting to help, and then gathering other people to help you with that problem.
I appreciate that, Ken. I want to keep exploring here in our conversation about how we continue to level up as like your capacity like needs to continue to grow in order to go from there. And I like where this is going. Thank you, Karen. And then Shannon, how about you? A belief that you up leveled up to play the game you play.
Yeah, so it's a bit echoing what Corinne said in terms of doing things your own way. So taking that transition from doing something in person and adding an element to online, my brain couldn't see that, like, okay, I can run an in-person business. I must be able to do it online. But there was a belief that it was completely different and that I couldn't do it and I had no idea what to do. So I got really into the clickbait, like what Isaac was describing, of like, hey, look at me, I'm super successful, buy my course and follow my program. After doing that and probably spending a lot of money that maybe could have been more wisely invested, I just led myself into a space where, for the first time ever, the business was like kind of, we were spending more than we were making for a period of time because we were blowing a lot of money on ads, and I invested in these big courses and, hired people at the same time. So it was just like, yeah, walking a thin rope. But pretty much I came back to like, okay, you know what, none of this is working, and I didn't build my in-person business following someone else's cookie cutter method. So what if I just do this the same way I did my in-person? Like, I'm just going to be authentic, speak my truth. It doesn't matter if my videos aren't perfect. It doesn't matter if everything's not edited. It doesn't matter if my page isn't beautifully curated and done with Canva and all of this. And I just spoke authentically, when exactly like Corinne was saying, like showed up when I felt ready to show up, planned things if I needed to. And it just brought in so much of a better crowd and also helped the business grow more than it was when I was following someone else's path.
So I love this here. Like I want to open this up for everyone. This one here. Where's another place where you leaned into you followed your own path? And I think not just where was it, but I want to talk about like the difficulty of choosing it, right? Because there's one part of it that seems really great. It's like just do you, and everything will work, right? And then the other part of like, but no one else is doing this, you know. So I'm curious for you all if you'd like to expand on this in any way here. If you can speak to some of the things where you lean into your style and how you dealt with like the potential loneliness or potential pushback or mental thoughts that were going on with it. Anyone want to take that one on?
Yeah, I'm gonna take that on. You know, the funny thing about it is when you realize who you are and who you feel comfortable with, there's a relief. There is a peace that comes over you. You know, a stillness. There's something that just is like, oh, Finally, this is making sense. This feels right. So there wasn't a struggle for me. The struggle was when I was doing the things that everybody else was doing, or I felt that I had to do. So when I let go of all of that and I just did me and continue to do me, that is where the joy comes in. Because I don't think anybody here or anybody listening to us, now or probably later, wants to start a business and be tortured by the thing, or or don't want to, or the whole joy of doing it. You start off with a joy and then you're upset with yourself every day, and for how many years you keep doing this thing. No, 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 no. You come into your business for a reason, and you start off with a passion, a hobby, whatever, however it got started, whether it was through adversity or you had no choice, whatever it is, you're back against the wall. So for me, it was really peaceful, just doing me and continuing to do me. I really don't care what anybody else is doing. I don't watch the competition. There's this whole thing about a SWOT analysis, check your competitors and all this sort of book theory. I did all of that. I don't do it. I did it in school and I left it right there. I am not watching my competitors. I don't care what they do. I focus on me. I keep my eyes on me and what I want to do, what I'm guided to do every day. That's it. Mind my business. It's a saying in the Caribbean. Mind your business. Drink water and mind your business. That is a song that is here. Drink water and mind your business. Don't be watching anybody else.
That's awesome. Thank you for this. Mind your business seems to be like I've had a couple conversations that mind your business keeps coming up as a theme in different areas. So thanks for bringing that in, Corinne. Latrice, I saw you on mute earlier. Why don't you bring you in?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that, yeah, I fell down the rabbit hole of that, watching everyone. I was a fly on everybody's wall, watching what they were doing. And I kind of, I found myself having maybe a similar personality, or I wanted to do something similar that they were doing, but I felt like I couldn't because they were already doing it. And so I had to really take a step back and say, are you going to be a watcher or a doer? Because you spend so much time watching all these people, and then you put yourself in this box where you can't, be yourself. And yeah, you may be doing the same thing, but you may deliver it in a certain way that may resonate with other people that are looking for what you can give them, not this other person. So I had to really assess that for myself and break away from that, because I was starting to just be a watcher and a follower, and I didn't want to live my life as that person. Like I said before, I wanted to create a better version of who I knew I wanted to be and who I could be. And so that's who you see today.
Just give a new feeling to like creator and follower right now. I'm just like, oh, I like when you put it in this context, I'm like, oh, no, I want to be on the creator side. It's not just about being creative. It's really just not just watching it go by. Anyone else have anything they want to toss into this?
Yeah, I could chime in for a second. I believe the recurring theme for the conversation already is self-awareness and understanding where you are currently versus where you want to be. So obviously setting goals and expectations for yourself. And it's fascinating because I suppose I'm the outlier of the outliers, because the thing that I adopted very early on was I would reverse engineer everybody's success. And so coming into the personal branding space in my own business, what I did is I looked at these ultra successful people, or what I believed were ultra successful, and then later found out, oh no, all right, maybe this guy isn't as truthful, right? But I took those strategies that worked for them, and I figured if it worked for them, I could duplicate it for myself. And that led me down the road of, why don't I do podcast interviews or podcast panels such as this? I wouldn't be open to this if I didn't see somebody else, a previous mentor of mine, also doing that, or seeing the strategies that work. And I believe that's how we ultimately improve and get better, and time frames, right? Because otherwise you have to spend all of that time making those mistakes time and time and time again, versus let me look and see what has worked. And so I believe it's a little bit less about minding your business and finding what works in other people's business, right? And adopting that in your own to where you could get results faster, but ultimately understanding where you want to be and where you want to wind up, I think is paramount.
I love to like ask the question on this one here because I love the reverse engineering part. And as I was hearing it, I was like, oh, like Isaac's way of going about doing things like is to reverse engineer.
Mhm.
You can get into a space, see something, and be like, I want to do that. That sounds good. Let me go. Let me like, how do they do it? Right.
Mhm.
Question for you here, with around the distinction of like, there's infinite things to get done. There are different ways that other people have made things work. And my general sense is like everything works to some extent, right? So how do you like keeping with the element of like reverse engineering, how do you actually make the distinction of saying like, all right, yeah, I'm gonna go down the podcast route versus I'm gonna
Mhm.
reverse engineer SEO. I'm gonna reverse engineer, you know,
Right.
like there's certain things, choices that you've made. So how do you make the choices or figure out like this is the one that I want to bring into my business or into my world?
Yeah, well, Niiamah, there are absolutely hundreds, if not thousands, of different strategies to grow a business, to grow your personal brand. Some are more effective than others, and I can't say that I stroked a balance. That didn't happen, and I would spend amounts of time obsessing over one particular thing until I got really good at it. So, for example, understanding social media marketing and understanding video content, and then once I understood, okay, let me go ahead and create a video. This is how I can do it effectively, let me move on to the next thing. And then that led me to press, and then that led me to podcasting, and not necessarily in that order, but understanding these things, getting a good working nature. I'm not an expert in those things in of itself. Like I can do videos, I can edit videos, I can build my website, but that doesn't mean I am doing that as a business myself. And so having that trade where you're not necessarily a master of any of those things, but you're good at them will give you a also help you in hiring decisions because you can see, other people's expertise and be able to ultimately make better decisions.
Yeah, it's fun. Like my favorite superheroes out there are always the ones that like can take other people's like abilities and such, right? And so like
Those are
I'm hearing
cool.
that from Isaac. He's like, I see what you got there. I want it. Like I'm
Well,
gonna have to work it for a bit, but like I like it.
well, if I could just chime in one other thing, there's a difference between copying somebody and being
Yes.
influenced by them.
Mm.
And what we see today is a lot of people are copying other people, right? Oh, this person recorded this video. Let me basically say the same exact thing and post the same, or using their own photos and using a different person's quote. It's like, absolutely not. And I do believe that you could take the strategies at face value for how they work and what results they achieve, but that doesn't mean you should copy every single thing about them. You should put your own personal spin on everything you're doing.
I love it there. Shannon, I want to come to you here. Firstly, is there anything that like is coming up for you from what Isaac said? I have a question for you specifically, but is there anything you want to respond to or build upon with what Isaac said first?
Yeah, I had a few thoughts that came up, and I think it was just kind of related to, and I think he kind of almost came back to it towards the end. So, just in the element of, I think it's good to be inspired by other people. I think ultimately we're all here because someone inspired us to take action. And that's really important to have that and to be able to receive that energy from people that we trust, from people that we look up to, while also putting that element of like who we are in our work. I think it's really important to understand who you are as an entrepreneur because inevitably you bleed into your brand, and you need to have a really strong sense of self and know what is actually authentic to you. So, if I follow something that worked for someone else just because I idolize that person or want to create something similar to what they have done, it doesn't necessarily mean that structure is right for me. Even if I want to elicit the same response and yield similar results, there might be a different path for me to actually get there. And part of that is like, what is sustainable for me? And, do I do my best doing one-on-one work versus group work? Do I do my best when I'm using my voice? Do I do better when I'm actually writing? Do I do better when I'm video recording? Am I actually better with photos? Because I think they're all valid methods. No matter what you choose, it will work if it's aligned with who you are. But if you make choices that aren't aligned with your zone of genius, then it's not really going to come to fruition. It might get you a little bit, but I think there's this path where your magic shows through, and that's where you yield the best results. That's where you're in flow and you don't experience the same resistance that maybe you did when you were trying a method that didn't feel authentically aligned. So I think I do think there's a lot of trial and error in the entrepreneurial world where you have to look at it as like, just because you tried this and it didn't work doesn't necessarily mean it's a failure. Like, I read this quote recently that I really loved, where entrepreneurs see it as like you either get a win or you get a loss, but companies see it as like research and development, right? So like they're not saying it's a, we just closed the company because this path didn't work. It's like, no, we put money into seeing if this path worked. It didn't work for this brand. Here's a new path that we're going to try. So I think it's really important to look at it as, you might have to try on a few different shoes to see which is the right one that fits.
Yeah. So like I'm hearing you like I'm getting this sense of like experimentation, being able to go through the trial and error. And outliers, if any of you are in right now on the error side of things, please keep trying. I'm going to put that out here. Shannon, you spent a little bit in the element of like learning of self. You talked earlier about you didn't build your in-person business by following someone else's method. And what came up to me was this idea of red flags, like those times, outliers, like when we know that something's off, or like it doesn't like necessarily sit, but like maybe we'll just go with it. So I'm curious for you, and I'd like to open this up for others as well. Karen, if you're good, I'd like to come to you next on this one. But tell us about a time where like there was something that felt off in what you were doing, and like like you didn't actually listen, you didn't trust that, you didn't listen to yourself in that moment, and how and some of the things that came up and how you overcame it. You can start, Shannon, if you want. Otherwise, I can go to Karen. Karen, would you like to put something in there, Shannon?
Yeah, I would say, I think recognizing that you likely started your business because you saw a gap somewhere, right? You saw an opportunity where maybe there's someone else doing it, but no one could do it like you do it, in a sense.
And could you make it real for us, Shannon? Like I hear about the proverbial you, but like take us to a time where this happened for you.
Yeah, I'll use a very specific time, like in the beginning of my journey. So I initially was renting an office from a different business to do nutrition. So that was the foundation of what I was doing. They were essentially trying to get me to run a model, and I just did not believe in that for nutrition. I was like, I know that theoretically this sells because things like weight loss and magic pills, people want to jump at that, or like this special elixir of tea. And it's kind of what they wanted to promote because they had a model that they were trying to replicate. And I felt like, I don't believe in this stuff. I don't feel that this is the truth. And I want to preach that this is a lifestyle and that you can actually enjoy yourself. And it's not about the quick fixes. It's about how can I live my life and get what I want out of it. And that starts with the basics of taking care of my health, right? And so these teas and all those gimmicks, I was like, that's not aligned with my message and what I want to put out into the world. And they were really trying to push it, and it wasn't flourishing because it was not true to who I was. And when I would get people in there, it was kind of like, I'm like, sorry, I don't believe in any of the marketing that's getting you in this door. Here's actually what
There's like
it's
a
going to be.
dissonance that was taking place, like you're actually getting away with it.
Right.
Sounds like a
Yeah.
bad network marketing company.
Yeah.
You would think. So yeah, it had to shift, and it was like, okay, that's not going to work because I'm trying to fit myself into a box that I don't belong in. And essentially, again, coming back to having a small business or a big business, where whatever direction it's going to grow into, you're the unique element of that, and that can't be replicated. And you just have to follow what is meant to come through you.
I appreciate that there. Like, Karen, I get curious for you, like, at any times that you've like either ignored red flags or like, yeah, I think that's really it. Like, what's the time, tell us about the time where you like ignored a red flag and how you ended up, what were some of the things that came from that?
Um, it's interesting. I think in my life I've seen a lot of like there's so much information, like Corinne was saying, like everything's always coming at you, and you can go a lot of different types of paths. For me, I usually what happens is I get a sticky thought. So by that I
Mm.
mean like I'll see a new piece of like, oh, that would be nice. And then it sticks, and it doesn't kind of go away because a lot of these things kind of just like there's too much, but it sticks, and then you kind of can move forward with that. And I know as we like about a year and a half ago, we sold all our stuff where we lived and we moved to Mexico to start this thing. And There was a lot of stuff I was trying to do and moving in a lot of different directions. And like Shannon was saying, you kind of eventually have to get to where you're like, oh, what is it that I do well? And start finding other people to do the stuff that, you know, you're maybe not doing as well, or letting it go and just being, okay, I'm just not going to do that part because you just can't do everything, you know, in what you're trying to do. And so I would say listening to the sticky thoughts and just letting everything else kind of go out of your life, you know, let it go.
Like sticky thoughts, like just like that's a sticky phrase right there. So outliers, like just check in with yourself. If there are any thoughts that you have that have been sticky for yourself, like let's call them in and maybe take action on it right here. Karen, you have me flowing a bit. Latrice, I'm going to come to you. You can answer the question here around the red flags and the time where you didn't trust yourself and what came out from that. But I'll also bring in this thing. Isaac earlier talked about standards, and I thought that was really helpful because I think about people right now who, as they continue to up level, part of it is because they're like, my standards have changed. I no longer work with people who don't have like XYZ in terms of followers or this amount of income made or teams of this size or whatever whatever that happens to be. I'm curious for you because this shows up almost every time I've seen a level shift happen. Tell us about a standard that has grown with you over time, something that you no longer tolerate, and then talk to us a little bit about like the ways you were able to actually honor it. Because I think that's one thing to say like you have a standard, and it's another thing that when push comes to shove, you find yourself actually like still playing at the level that you were before. Do you mind sharing something on that, Latrice? And then I'm opening it up to everyone, please.
Sure. So for me, especially in the last couple of years, I felt like, and a lot of people have told me, I mean, you're just too nice. You just, you say you're a yes person and you just say yes to everything. And then after a while, I just really had to assess that and like really agree that I was one of those people that didn't want to disappoint others. And I wanted to show up for everyone. And that was just piling so much extra stuff on my plate. And so I had to really take a step back and say, okay, does this make sense? And I had to realize that it didn't make sense. And I had to come best friends with the word no. And over the years, it's become fluid and it's become natural. And I feel great when I use it. And I had to learn how to set boundaries. And so piggybacking on when I said, share with you that I was a writer. Now that is a solitary um, profession. I spent a lot of time with myself and, with words. So not so much in that sense, but I am a serial entrepreneur. So as I've been building this new business, there's just so many things that are non-negotiable when it comes to the space that I am building and the relationships that I am trying to curate. Let's just talk about social media, for instance. I don't follow anyone in my family because I don't want to see, cute kittens or, a fight breaking out in a elementary school. You know what I mean? So I may unfollow you, but I am still friends. If I need to check in and see how you're doing, I will come physically on your page to do so. But when I go to social media, I need to see, business related information or spiritual information to keep me grounded or, things that I'm posting for my business or anything like that. So those things I had to put in place because I didn't need the extra noise clouding where I was trying to go. So yeah.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Corinne, I saw you like smiling quite a few times. What resonated with you in that? What did it make you think of that's going on?
I'm an island girl. I'm always smiling. Come on.
I'll take that.
I'm
I'll take
always
that.
smiling. Listen, when you mentioned red flags, I started to think about a couple of things, and it ties in with the topic about standards as well. So red flags for me are two ways. When I am hiring people, outsourcing people to work with me, whether on a project team, because there may be a project and I have to pull people together to be on this project, and you have to be very careful when you're selecting persons to work with you on a project, right? The other side is clients. They are persons who would hire you to do work. And so I have very early on in being an entrepreneur, you know, you're desperate for the money, you're glad to get any kind of money, you know, and so you might take things, accept work from people that you know deep down is going to stress you. You're going to the madhouse, you're walking to the madhouse yourself. Nobody has to take you. You know it. And you will not turn it away, but you know you should. So you go against your intuition telling you this is not going to work. You already pick up this is not going to work. And those were red flags that you see. And you ignore it. And it ends up hurting you in the end. That you the thing that you wanted to do in the beginning, cut it off, you end up having to do it in the end. Plus having to refund the person as well, whether it is the full thing because you want your peace of mind is more important than anything else, or a portion of. So in terms of having clients, but in terms of hiring, when I'm talking to people to select people to be on a project team with me for, you know, and this could be a short-term project, let's say 6 months, it could be even up for 2 years, 6 years. I don't want anybody stressing me out, and I don't want to be stressed out. I don't want to stress anybody out. So there are persons who will, I pick up their personality. I pick up what, by talking with them, by interacting with them, I pick up little things that I'm like, okay, and I'm not upset. You know, people might think I might be demanding, I might be forceful. I'm not upset. I am like, I could see that this is not going to work for me. You know, you are not a right fit for this particular thing for working with how I work. And so that's okay. You know, you may be a great fit for somebody else. It's just not for me. And people have a word that they use, rejection. I don't like to use the word rejection. I don't like the word rejection because I don't think anybody or anything is rejected. It's just not the right fit at the right time. That doesn't mean to say something is wrong with you or something is wrong with me. You are a match for something else, someone else, just not me, and that is okay. So I don't reject people, and I say these things with love when I have to talk to them. I say, you know, very with love, you know, either way, whether it is hiring or whether it is with a client. I say it with love, you know? So it ties in with the standard because it comes back to what my standard is in terms of how I want to do my business and how I want to deliver for a client or how I want to conduct a project going forward, you know? So it ties in both ways.
Oh, absolutely, it ties in. You know, there's something here I want to just pull in here, which is like you talked about, like people might see me as demanding or forceful, and that really struck me, Kareem, because just a couple of minutes before, a couple of sentences before, you're like, "I'm an island girl. I'm always smiling," right? And I think that like I want to pull this into focus here because I think that like this is something that holds outliers back from stepping in, owning what they want, from choosing what they want, for living into the standards there of being seen or being perceived or being afraid of being seen. I think that's what it really where it is, as like not being agreeable or coming off demanding, forceful, aggressive, whatever it is, just because they have their standards and they're living true to it. So, Karina, I'd love to come back to you on that there because I think you've been a really great example of that. Like you live it. I get it. Like this, like this is what you do. Like I'm not doing anything other than this. But can you speak to that, especially for any outlier out there that's like, I want to do it, but like I don't want to come off this way. I don't want people to see me in a certain way.
Um, it comes back to what we're all saying, authenticity. You have to be good with you first before you could be with anybody else. And you have to be so okay with you that if somebody else doesn't want to work with you or want to be in your space, that's okay. You know, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with that person. And people may want, and they will try to make you feel bad about who you are and try to turn you into a Latrice or to Karen or into Isaac, you know, or to Shannon. They might want to turn you into these people. And you just have to stand your ground. You know who you are, and you don't have to be that person, and that is okay. And you see, it's you don't have to validate, you don't have to explain yourself, you don't have to confirm, you don't even have to make an excuse for who you are. You just be who you are. And if that person can't respect that, you just say with love, hey, it's okay, you know, that's fine. You know, I'm not the person for you. I'm not the person for this project. And that's okay. My favorite thing to say is it's okay. It's okay.
Well, I appreciate all of you here. We're going to start wrapping up the conversation in a bit, but I want to make sure the outliers here get a chance to see like some of the things that you're doing right now, right? We've talked about some of the ways that you see the world. I'm like, what's exciting you right now? So, why don't we do this? why don't we have you share something that is exciting you right now? We're gonna do a three-part. I'm gonna go to each of you, all right? But we use this to wrap ourselves off. Share something you're working on that excites you, maybe even scares you a little bit, and then give outliers an opportunity to come and play with you, whether in that project or like to go deeper into your world. And then the last thing here, I think we'll do that as its own separate thing. I'll ask you one last question afterwards. So we'll do that. Isaac, I want to start with you on this one here. What's exciting you? What's getting you going?
Well, Niiamah, I would like to go back to Corine's point and just a recurring theme again about us as business owners. We're coming from a position of leverage because we are the people who are providing a solution to another person's problem, right? And a lot of times we let our clients or our prospects take leverage over us by saying no or choosing to go with somebody else or making demands when they're not necessarily in a point to make demands. And I say that humbly and with humility, not as, oh, we are better than you, but no, we have something that is tactical, something that is strategic, something that we can help you with. And I believe it's really important for us to understand that because, again, we do not have to work with every single person and understanding kind of the level that you want to play at. Do you want to work with everybody? Do you want to be mid-market? Do you want to be upper echelon and work with, multimillionaires and gated communities? It's like, you have to make these decisions and set the tone for your brand from a high value, branding standpoint of, do you want to be a luxury service? Do you want to be a small business service? Do you want to be mid-market? And these are the things that you have to think about that we usually don't have conversations about. And so I just wanted to make that point really quick because that has driven me insane in the past by working with somebody who was a flying red flag that resulted in a huge fiasco. When again, now you understand, all right, I don't want to work with that kind of person. I would rather work with these kind of individuals, and kind of just setting the standard and the tone for you and your business will help you attract those higher quality clients long term because you won't be appealing to them, but through social media content, through free training, through resources, whatever you're producing, you can still provide value to those people that wouldn't be ideal clients, but could be clients down the road. So it's really that long-term vision and perspective.
Thanks for
Now,
that. Yeah.
in terms of what I'm working on, I am scaling Mashman Consulting Group. I'm bringing on more personal brand consultants, which I'm really excited about. People who can go out and land clients of their own and help them with their personal brands. And a requirement is that if you want to work with me, you have to be building your own personal brand to a high level yourself, because I believe you have to practice what you preach. If we're building a consulting service-based business, we need people who take action, and we need clients who take action too. And aside from that, I am on the speaking circuit. So I have an event coming up in about 2 weeks in front of 100 plus contractors in Denver, Colorado. A little stressed out about that in all the best ways possible, but it's really good. And again, setting your sights to something and then working to achieve that end goal.
Awesome, Isaac. Let us know, like, if any outlier wants to continue going down in your world, how can they best do that?
I am really easy to be found. You could probably find every piece of information about my life story online. You could just run a quick Google search, Isaac Mashman, connect with me on social media, or go to my website, isaacmashman.com.
Awesome. Thank you. We'll come back with one more thing at the end. Karen, how about you? What's the project that's exciting you right now? And then how can the outliers stay in your world?
Right now, I'm currently finishing up a set of guided journals to help people kind of discover, their gifts and talents and move forward on their paths. Something we wanted to use with the kids we're working with, wanted to make it available to other people as well. So I've been working on this program for like 5 years. So I'm working on writing a book so that it's available to everybody. So that's
Well
been fun.
created.
And then just gathering people, like this is something that we can't do on our own. So I'm just trying to find people who want to either volunteer or invest or whatever to have this work go forward. So that's the thing that currently I'm kind of focused on, those two.
Nice, nice. And if any outliers call to join you on this year, what's the best way for them to do that?
Findyourpathmission.org is where our website is, and where you can find information for volunteering, service trips, whatever you feel you can do.
Thank you, Karen. Shannon, let's come to you. What do you got that's going on that's really exciting you? And what's the best way for us to continue with you?
Like I said, two things. One, I just opened up a new location this week, so that's really exciting if you're local and in the area. Second, I am launching an online program. So it's a group coaching program that is specifically designed to connect women who are looking to improve their relationship with their body, learn to trust their intuition, and really start to heal some of those old limiting beliefs that have held them back from feeling their best and from showing up in the world as the best version of themselves.
Awesome. And if any outliers interested in joining you on that journey, how can they best do it?
The best way to find me, you can check out my website or my social media. I'm very active on Instagram. My website is fuelthefire.us and my Instagram is fuelthe_fire.
Nice. Thank you very much. Latrice, let's come to you. A project you're working on and how we can best stay in your world.
Awesome. So as a writer, I am working on a project called Don't Punk Out, Step Through to Claim Your Victory, Stay Through to Live the Legacy. So I am working on that. And as a call center owner, I am recruiting, like I said, for work from home opportunities. And you can find all of my information at latricefowler.com. So yeah.
Thank you very much, Latrice.
You're welcome.
And then Corinne?
For me, it's a personal project. It's called Project Me, as in me, Corine. And so I am working on starting my exercise program. I'm sure you all could relate to this story. I've been on and off, and I am tired of it. I need to keep the look of 25 going. Thank you for the rest of my life. And so every year I'm celebrating 25 years. Okay, I'm just saying, I'm 25 forever. And so I need to maintain this youthful look. Don't mind the, the silvers and so on going on here. But yes, so I have my stuff coming in. I have my work equipment, workout equipment. And so I said, yes. So I need a little cheering squad people to help me to keep on that little program. I'm not entering any Olympics or any such thing. You know, I'm going to be taking my time. And, you know, I changed the word from exercise. You know, I didn't like the word exercise. It somehow kind of gives me this icky feeling and I never be consistent. So I thought of it as self-care. Somebody said therapy. I'm still working around it. If anybody wants to suggest something other than exercise that is uplifting and brings joy and love, they can suggest it. But that's the project I'm on because the best me will be the best service provider for my clients. And how can people reach me before you ask me, Niiamah? They can reach me on LinkedIn. I mean, if you just put my name, Corine La Font, on Google, it is going to come up. But you can check me on LinkedIn using the same name, Corine La Font.
Well, thank you. Thank you all. Usually I like to end each conversation with an insight everyone has. We're at time, so I don't want to go in the same way, but I would like to leave here with some kind of takeaway you had. If you can describe it in one word, we'll just go around really quickly for everyone. I think I need to close out. It feels like open-ended otherwise. So if we can just choose a word that you're using to leave this conversation with, that'd be really helpful. And we'll use that to end our conversation here. Just know that I appreciate all of you and thank you for making your time and sharing your expertise and greatness with us. Let's start with Isaac, then we'll go to Karen.
My word would be clarity.
Thank you, Isaac. Karen?
2 words, follow your inspiration. 3 words.
Yes, I love the outlier. It's like, I'm just going to do it. Great. Awesome. Corinne?
For me, be patient with yourself. I know it's a couple of words, but be patient with yourself.
You got it. Thank you so much. And Latrice?
Confidence.
Say it one more time, please.
Confidence.
Love it. Love it. You are amazing. I appreciate you. Thank you so much here. And remember, outliers, be you on purpose. Journey on.